Well, hey there. Welcome to the top 5 tips for new math coaches. My name is Chrissy Allison. I am an experienced math coach, and I have to tell you that surprisingly, my first year as a math coach was even harder than my first year as a teacher. And that is one of the main reasons that now I focus my time supporting other math coaches, especially people who are new in their role in their first or second year as a math coach or as a district leader, because there are just so many things out there that we don't know when we step into a new role. And then I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn, by making mistakes and spending a lot of years and a lot of energy making those mistakes. And so in today's training, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I learned along the way so that you can apply them right away and save yourself some of that energy and stress that I experienced. So let's get started. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for new math coaches. So before we jump into the tips, let me introduce myself in case you don't know me. As I said, my name is Chrissy Allison. I'm the founder of Mindful Math Coach, and I'm a former middle school math teacher and instructional coach. I also worked at our district level. I worked at a charter school, and we had 5 schools. So I was the network specialist for a number of years, in which I was able to help lead the entire math department towards improving math instruction. So even though my experience as a math coach was really challenging and stressful and hard the first few years, I was able to lead our team to increase our math scores by 30% in the first 3 years. So we did see a lot of success. But as I mentioned, it kind of came with a price. After being a math coach for 6 years, I left a school-based position in order to become the director of math professional learning for a national nonprofit. And there I was able to have this kind of balcony view and was able to see that, you know what, I wasn't the only one who was striving to improve math teaching and learning at my school, but kind of ill-equipped from the beginning. And needed some support and needed some guidance. And I met a lot of instructional coaches and math coaches and principals even who were looking for that direction of how do we make change. Here's a little bit about what I'm doing now. I'm the host of the Mindful Math Podcast, a weekly podcast where there are some solo episodes where I share my own expertise and knowledge. And I also interview guests on topics that they have expertise in. And that's just a way for teachers and leaders to hear what's working, or in some cases what's not working across the country, in order to sort of cross-pollinate and help spread some of the learning from school to school and teacher to teacher. 2 things I focus on heavily right now are mindful math improvement. So that is supporting coaches and leaders to scale change across their school or system, and also focusing on supporting unfinished learning. So what do we do with students if they come to your grade level with gaps or missing prerequisite skills from previous grade levels? How can we create that bridge to the grade level content? That's something that I share a lot of resources on, and I spend a lot of time thinking about. And in addition, I run workshops and do coaching for math coaches, specialists, and instructional leaders. Tip number 1 is what got you here won't get you there. Yes, there is a book by this name. I have read it, and it is something that I've had to learn more than one time in my life. But the truth is that when you go from being a teacher to a coach, you need a new skill set. And this is something I didn't really realize. And I think that this happens a lot of places too, where, you're a really effective teacher, you're a great teacher, you're getting great results, you have good relationships with your students, maybe your colleagues look up to you and they come to you for advice. And so you become a math coach. And shortly thereafter, you realize that it's not as simple as just sharing what you do with other teachers. You may step into the role and realize that even though you are an amazing teacher and you got really great results in your classroom, you don't quite have all the tools yet that you're going to need to scale that across your school or across your district. Skills like setting vision and investing key stakeholders and managing up reading between the lines and seeing, what are people saying and what are they really thinking and what do they need? Negotiation, building consensus, giving feedback, coaching, that day-to-day coaching. How about time management? That was one thing that was really tricky for me, was how do I set up my schedule? I want to share a few episodes of the Mindful Math podcast with you if you're really thinking about developing your leadership practice. So episode 29 is called The Magic of Managing Up. This is an interview with my sister, who is a COO of a huge company and has a lot of experience with managing others and managing up. People have told me this was a very, very helpful episode for them, and so I wanted to share it with you. Episode 44 is The Art of Science and Leadership with Dr. Kiana White. This episode is so great and inspiring. Kiana is an amazing leader in Texas, and she talks about how being a leader is really inside-outside work, which I think is so true. Episode 51 is Navigating Your Way Out of the Drama Triangle with Maggie Riley. Maggie's an integrative holistic coach, and in the episode, she talks about ways that you can respond and stay conscious when you find yourself in one of the roles of the drama triangle, either as a victim, a rescuer, or a persecutor. This is a very powerful episode as well, and I've even had some listeners tell me they've listened to that episode more than once. So if you want to find any of these podcast episodes, you can go to my website, mindfulmathcoach.com/podcast, or you can search the Mindful Math Podcast on any of the popular podcasting apps like Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and the like.